Welcome back to The New Norm with Dr. Lou Graham, brought to you by Midway Dental and Catapult Education. Today I'm going to be joined by Stephanie Smith, the president of Innovative Advisory Services, and I love her tagline, and I'll read it: Practice Prosperity Advisor / business. Love it. And when I last spoke to Stephanie, she had just completed a PPE drive for a local hospital or local hospitals. And really, from what I've heard, everything about Stephanie, that's what she's all about. Just a super coach to so many practices. But before I get into that interview with Stephanie, I just want to talk about where we're at with new legislation, and it's changing so much. So the new legislation out there that was just passed in Washington, which I applaud, by the way, tremendously, is the fact that dentists, as small business owners, and believe me, there are many other small business owners, we're all in this together, will be able to get loans. And these loans may come from regional banks, and these loans may be of no interest or low interest and may be forgiven, which means the government may be granting us this money, which is really unbelievable, taking a lot of stress off our plates and our employees / teams' plates. That alone is obviously in the works, and that will be coming to us very shortly. And you've got to stay on top of this, because if that can take off the stress of employees, and we would then put them back on our payrolls for up to 2 months, and it would cover some of our overhead. This is huge. Another thing that just came out this morning is that steroids are going to go onto, like what they call, unemployment is going to go on steroids. So the legislation supposedly will be offering the unemployed an additional $600 per week for 4 months. And if you think about what that would do, that would be amazing. I think also a key part of everything I'm following and what I really believe in is we have to keep our employees' medical benefits. Many of us are sharing the cost of those benefits, through payroll. However your office is doing this, I think it's important that we keep medical benefits. It's going COBRA and other things is way too complicated and costly. And I also think as dentists, we have to step up to the plate. In my conversations with Stephanie, man, these are stressful times. And at times I may not have stepped up to the plate. And we all have to step up to the plate, because as dentists, we own small businesses and we're leaders. We have to show resilience, and we have to show guidance to our teams. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, because if we're not guiding our teams and showing leadership, then we risk a lot more. That's my thought. So leadership and resilience is key as a dentist out there. Coming out of Washington also and statewide, I think we also have to understand that I don't believe that we are going to be in crowded churches over Easter. Looking at what the research is showing and what medical experts are saying, we need universal testing, and there's a lot more that has to really come to the plate over the next 4 to 8 weeks. So I really follow the thoughts of Governor Newsom, who basically is talking about that we may be in a stay-at-home mode for the next 2 to 3 months. And if we are in that stay-at-home mode to flatten the curve and stay safe, then this conversation with Stephanie becomes that much more important. How do we keep our teams together? How do we still stay motivated and show resilience? So with that, I want to bring Stephanie into the conversation. Thank you for joining us, Stephanie. Let me hear from you, and let me hear what you're currently doing right now. Talk to me.
Thanks, Lou. So right now, it's a matter of staying on top of the changes that are daily, sometimes hourly. You just don't know. And so my entire career, I've always been very confident and concise with decisions. And I am in a whirlwind, including I've always said that there is a place for stay-at-home moms and teachers in heaven, and that's a little corner that I was never going to be in. And now I feel like I've been just pushed into that. And it is difficult. I had to send out, because I don't want my clients to feel like they're on an island either. And I had to let them know that I'm doing everything that I possibly can to stay on top of it, while I'm also homeschooling, cooking dinner every night. I'm moving my husband out right now. I might get emotional, to live in a camper for a month. Like, he works for a nuclear plant. And so we're really all in this together, even though our problems vary depending on if you're a single mom, if you're married, if you're non-essential, if you are essential, you know, within your household. And we owe it to ourselves on an individual basis, to our teams as well too, is we all shut down last week and we left as a family, and that's a family unit that really has to stay together through all of this.
Right.
And I continue to preach that among them. Reach out to your team members. Don't just send a blast email, call them. These are people that heard your voice 3, 4, 5 days a week. And we're all feeling so alone.
I hear you. We've started a WhatsApp in our team, and honestly, I think it's great. I can send information first thing in the morning of what we're trying to do, what we're looking at to cover our employees and stuff like that. We can do voice videos or whatever on WhatsApp, and I agree with you. I think staying in touch with your team, because that's your other family, is our teams, and giving them encouragement and leadership and basically hugs is what we all have to be about.
Absolutely.
I agree with you. And look, we were just talking about whether we feel essential or non-essential. Why don't we talk about that? Tell me more about the thoughts of feeling essential or not.
So I am considered non-essential. I'm a practice management coach that specifically with dentistry. That's a really hard hit, by the way. I am a person that work-life balance, probably not the best, because I'm a worker bee. And so being considered non-essential can be a really hard hit. But on the flip side of that, my husband works for a nuclear plant and is essential. And it's heartbreaking to me, because I feel that I have lost a sense to keep my family unit safe when my husband is considered essential. And then we look at dentistry of it. And I have team members from my clients and from non-clients, because of social media, that are saying, isn't dentistry considered essential? I don't understand why we're off from work. And truly, my own opinion on this is emergencies absolutely are essential. But, you know, I'm a believer in the science and facts with the aerosols, and, you know, dentistry being at the highest risk is I stand by that. And so to me, no, routine care it's not essential, and that hurts, because we're all losing a sense of purpose.
Well, I'll say this, and I'll defend the sense of purpose. We're all trained, our teams are trained, and I would say our sense of purpose is maybe a little on pause, but as I've covered with Tracy Whale and Carson Carpenter, we have to practice safely. We can't be stupid, or we're gonna add to this problem. And social distancing is so important. So I'll say, we still have a purpose, and if it's treating our patients through teledentistry and guiding them through these times, or seeing them safely as emergency patients, I do agree with you, and that is our purpose right now. And our routine purpose of giving people smiles, new teeth, removing decay, treating gum disease, and how that affects systemically, of course we all have purpose. But it's called basically emergency versus non-emergency to get through this crisis. So I hear you, but I do think we will emerge out of this and become essential once again as a profession. I really do. And I think you do too, don't you?
Absolutely. I completely do. So I'm glad that you clarified those details within it as well too. We have to continue to remind ourselves that Yes, this is a moment in time that's going to be a long moment. I completely agree with your opening statement in regards to I think that this is going to be longer. We're not going to be joining in church in the masses for Easter either.
Right.
You brought me so much joy to just hear the different legislation and in regards to loans, because these are things that I'm staying on top of. I've been watching your videos nonstop
Right.
so I can, fill them in. But that gives, those are conversations again too, that your sense of purpose, there's the change. Yes, we hold on to what we went to school for. But at the same time is connecting with your team and letting them know what I'm staying on top of, how I'm going to be able to protect, my team during this as well too. And
Right.
certainly the information that you continue to put out there is, we need to be guiding our teams to be watching this stuff from
Right. Thank you. And what's interesting is I've been on calls with dental manufacturers who employ thousands of people who have no sales right now. And they're going through tremendously tough times because overall the industry is just shut down. And when I reach out to presidents of corporations and people we work with on the speaking tour and my Catapult doctors, it's a profession obviously that will reemerge. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it, and we're all feeling this together. I want to ask you some questions that you kind of sent to me, and I think they're important. So, because I think you do have great touch points, Steph, and I think one of the first questions is, what can dentists do to feel productive for their practice without spending a lot of money, because we don't have a lot of money? So tell me some things that you think we can be doing to be productive. I'd like to hear some too.
Certainly. So there's no time than any right now. Get yourself chartless. Doesn't mean you have to scan in every chart. Please don't
Right.
scan in every piece of the chart. I've offered for free to, tap into their software and look to what they do. Listen,
Right.
I don't have much to do with my work as well too. So I'll help guide on those efforts,
Yeah.
maintenance within the practice. Get inside of there, make sure your equipment is prepared to go
Yeah.
lengthy shutdown here. We can all hope that in a couple weeks we can get back. I again feel differently, but we have to make sure that we're maintaining that equipment. The scuffs from your waiting room chairs behind there, landscape maintenance. There's so many different things that we could be doing to go into the office, see how everything's going on there. Certainly as we keep on pushing patients along as well too, we need to reach out to our patients, whether it's through your sources like Weave, Practice Mojo, Revenue Well, letting them know that we still are here, we still listen, we're still following everything, and we'll keep you in touch as these things move along. Because we don't want to be inundated with all of the voicemails as well too about somebody's cleaning in a couple of weeks. So yeah.
I agree, and I think also, let's add to that. So I think like openly, what are dentists going to do differently when they should be thinking, what are we going to do differently when we get out of this? And yes, it's emergency care for, hopefully no more than 2 months. And then we're going to have new restrictions. We're going to be dealing with new OSHA guidelines. Tracy was talking about, and Carson was talking about, new airborne OSHA guidelines, not bloodborne only guidelines now. And I think with all that said, there will be a new norm that most dentists have to be preparing for. So let's talk a little bit about that with you. No doubt, I totally believe in paperless offices as we went a few years ago. But I also think, like next week, I want to interview Dave Monahan from Clear. I think there's no better time than when we're dealing with PPOs who are going to say no potentially to increases in fees, because we're going to have higher costs in seeing patients, sterilization costs. I mean, this is not going to go away, so we're going to have to up our game. So I really see this as a great time for people to start looking at, how do I build an in-office dental program and a savings plan, because patients are going to be coming back. They've been unemployed. They may not have insurance, or their insurance isn't going to be covering what we're going to be needing from them. What are your thoughts about potentially looking at growing in-office dental plans? I know we hadn't talked about it, but do you see that as something that teams could be working even remotely together?
I 100% do. So I have a passion for taking practices fee for service as well too. We could
Great.
go on and on. Woo, we could go on and on about the insurance
Okay.
company and what it's doing to hurt us. And so I have practices that even last week I met with a doctor because she had heard about me through the grapevine to, successfully go fee for service and talking about the in-office plans that we could have. I think you are spot on. Not only do we need to go ahead and start planning for helping out the patients, filling the gap that we have there, and you're absolutely right. These horrific insurance company reimbursements,
Yep.
they're going to hurt us when we're going to be increasing. You could have been running at your supply costs from 4, 5, 6%. I have to believe that, again, like you said, the new OSHA standards, it's going to be perhaps higher for a certain period of time
Absolutely.
until we
Yep.
can kind of plateau.
Oh.
We also have to, sorry, go ahead.
No, I think until we have a vaccine, really, or universal testing, we are going to be in a different norm when we get back in May or June. There's just no doubt about it. I'm sorry to say, but
Yep.
to think this is all going to go bye-bye, it's not going to go bye-bye. So this is
agree.
going to take more time per patient, and I'll even shift to another thing. I'm interviewing Bruce Baird, who runs Compassionate Finance, and I think people are going to be also coming back who also don't have insurance. So hopefully we can offer them our plans in our offices, but also they may not have the finances. And so another option could be how we become really financing our own patients so that they put a deposit down, and this works out great economically for the patient and also the practice, because we don't want to turn down patients who are also suffering through this. I mean, wouldn't you agree on that?
I 100% agree. We have to find ways.
Yeah.
This is the time, better than none, to
Yeah.
sit down, make a plan in progress, because
Right.
if we have a very successful practice that is doing exactly what they should be, scheduling the 4 and 8th month for perio and a 6 month for regular prophy, and now
Right.
we're just going to keep pushing that along. So we need to prepare. What are we going to do for our schedule? Do we have the physical room to bring on another hygienist to go ahead with that, the volume of patients that we're going to need to get back in before we push
Great
them
point.
out? But
Yeah.
also, yeah, we have to. Like, there's without a doubt, if you have that physical room, prepare yourself. And I'd be happy to go ahead and discuss what that looks like. There's circling back around to the importance of us staying connected with our team as well too. I also think that if we don't stay connected with our team, they're going
Yeah.
to find a doctor that perhaps they do feel connected with. And so that's why it's very important, is we need to make sure that relationship is retained and is healthy, so that way we can come back to work, we have our family unit together. Perhaps we have another hygienist that maybe they were only working 2 or 3 days a week before, but now their spouse, who is considered, non-essential, and they need to go ahead and increase their own income.
Right.
Find those opportunities. Think about it. We have to. And now, again, your insurance company, if somebody wants help trying to negotiate insurance fees right now, first, I agree, they're probably not going to move anywhere. The insurance companies are
Right.
losing their minds as well too. But this could be a better time than not to look over your demographics within your software as well too. See what is your insurance income. Did you have a lot of state or federally funded insurance plans? Can you go fee for service right now and then introduce so that you can fill the gap? Because there's undoubtedly there's going to be patients that don't have insurance, and we have to find means so that they can still have the care that we believe in.
Right, I really agree, and we can touch on a lot of these points in the second interview, no doubt. You also asked me to ask you about how do we limit our own anxieties and check on our team during this time. So give me additional thoughts on how do we lower this anxiety curve, because we all have anxiety. I'm sorry, we all do. So give me thoughts.
Without a doubt, we all have anxiety. I go in waves of complete mental hysteria, crying at the drop of a dime, to numbness. And I was actually brought in, after I emotionally had to come to terms with moving my husband out, which I almost backed out of this interview with you, Graham, because I was at a point of hysteria. I called Keith crying because I said, I just don't know that I'm the right person And so one of my dentists, she connected with me that evening and I told her what I had going on. And she said, somebody wise once told me before your feet hit the ground to say and ask yourself, today I'm grateful for, I am focusing on, and I am letting go of. And this is something that I told her during some trying times that we had, because we have to remind ourselves the situation that we have and what we're grateful for. I have a roof over my head. I'm trying to sell a house. I just bought a house all during this chaos. I mean, I have to focus on the fact that my kids are happy and healthy. I have still one income in my house, even though I wish that he wasn't essential, but at the same time, we have to have income.
Right.
Those are some of the things we have to do. We also have to go ahead and check in and remind our team members this as well. What can we do to listen to them? My dentist, my clients, they sometimes simply just want to be heard. They're calling me and a half hour of just getting it all out and then saying thank you. Your team members need that too.
Right.
And that's going to lessen anxiety. I took a live video the other day. I just got done going for a run with my kids, and I are training for a 5K. Okay. Why not? Like, I've got nothing else to do with my time. And, I went live on Facebook because I had a dental assistant reach out to me that was really, she just needed to be heard again. And so I went out, I workout clothes and all on Facebook to let people know, like, please reach out. We want somebody to hear the struggles that we're going through. None of us were homeschooling moms and dads. None of us, we all just want to feel connected still. And that's going to lessen our anxieties.
Yeah, I hear you. I think we're doing now also, we're doing Zoom meetings as a team. So it's great seeing everybody's pictures pop up, their faces pop up. And one may be over a cocktail hour, so to speak, and another may be during the day. But we're just trying to schedule 2 Zoom meetings, and we can also talk about what's going on personally and do group hugs in this world of isolation. But also we can start talking about all the things we're talking about. How do we rebuild and move forward in 4, 6, or 8 weeks? And I think all of these, anything that people can come up with to remain part of a community will lower anxiety, no doubt. That's my thought. So give me some closing thoughts before we take this off the air, so to speak.
Sure. Connect and prepare. And flexibility we have to have all these different things as it all changes, and we all feel a little bit crazy every time there is a change. Connect with your team. All right. Prepare for when you open, whether it is in 3 weeks. My own opinion is it won't be, or it's in 2 months. We have to game plan and get your team involved, see what their thought process is on it as well, and be flexible and let them know, hey, I'm with you guys through it. And that's something that, again, on a daily basis, whether it's through Zoom call, which is free to do Zoom and you can get everybody in at once, or you're just calling individually to check in. We were a family when we left our practices. We have to remain a family during this.
I hear you. Thank you, Steph. Thanks so much for sharing both an emotional time in your life and our lives. I can't thank you enough. For people who have questions, our viewership just continues to boom on this. You can ask us questions or give us topics that you're thinking of. You can email those to education@midwaydental.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Next week, we'll be hitting more and more what we should all be doing to prepare for ourselves reopening, and potentially talking about some emergency procedures and state of the art of what we can do safely. Be safe. We'll see you soon. The new norm. So let me be clear. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your questions. So what we want you to do is we want you to go to education@midwaydental.com. Shoot us your questions. We'll go right to the experts. I know I'm not the expert, so let's go ask the experts what we should be doing as our next step next week, the week after, and thereafter. I look forward to hearing from you.